A potential clash between the White House and the Justice Department on whether a classified House memo should be made public. The four-page document by House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes alleges the FBI abused its power to spy on the Trump campaign.
Basically, this shows to me either very serious mistakes, very serious negligence, or intentionally not complying with the rules as to what has to be done to begin an investigation, to have certain procedures followed. I don't want to overstate it, but I think anyone who looks at this honestly will say, wait a minute, proper procedures are not followed.
Ben Kissel is a radio talk show host and political commentator. Ali Stuckey is the host of The Conservative Millennial on Conservative Review TV. Thanks to both of you for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ben, this sets up a bit of a tough situation between the president and the DOJ and the FBI, because if they do choose to release the memo, he has the power to stop it. I bet they want him to stop it.
I don't think he will.
No. Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting. I mean, we have a situation where the Republicans at this point are doing more to undermine our democratic institutions than the Russians could ever imagine. If the fix was in against Donald Trump to propel Hillary Clinton into the White House, she didn't win, so you would think she would have, unless, of course, the FBI is worse at fixing events than the Pennsylvania Polka King who fixed a beauty pageant for his wife.
But that's not what it's about, Ali. I mean, this is about the last administration weaponizing the FBI potentially to spy on a political opponent. And don't we want to know if that's really what happened? I would think the Democrats would want to know when President Trump said he was wiretapped and everyone mocked him. I think they would want to have this to be able to prove or disprove that.
Of course, and this is much bigger than the election. This is about an administration that allegedly undermined the integrity of our institutions and of our democracy. And what we know is that the only thing that fuels true democracy in a constitutional republic like ours is transparency. And transparency is the only thing known to be able to separate partisanship from fact. And to accomplish that transparency, we've got to release the memo. And if Democrats are so concerned with this memo being partisan and biased, then they can release their own memo, or maybe Trump can declassify the underlying information on which this memo is based. But until that, it's just going to be a bunch of hearsay. None of us have actually read it, so I say release the memo.
Okay.
Ben, if you think that this is just Republicans trying to gin something up to distract, I would think that you would want them to release the memos so that they could be seen to be fools, and you could release the information. Everybody would see that they were lying.
I'm for transparency. I think it's extremely unique. We have a Republican Party going this hard against the FBI. But sure, release the memo, and I think we'll see exactly what we saw at the Peter Strzok, Lisa Page text exchanges, rather. The secret society everyone was freaking out about was a joke about beefcake Putin calendars. So I say sure, go for it.
That wasn't the worst part of the text messages. I mean, if we want to talk about the text messages, we can see that there's at least bias or corruption.
Let's stay on the memo for the moment. Ali, you know, Lee Zeldin, Congressman Lee Zeldin was on earlier this week on Fox News Channel, and he said that the practices that this memo contains, and it shows what the FBI did, are things that they absolutely should not be doing, and that rather than letting secrets out of the bag in terms of, you know, what the FBI does, that instead we would be showing what they shouldn't be doing, and that's a reason to put the memo out. What do you think about that?
Exactly. And Ben mentioned this is going after the FBI. I would argue that it's not going after the FBI. It's going after potential corruption and potential bias. It's an attempt to save our institutions and to save the agencies that are now under so much skepticism by the American people because of the text messages that we've seen and other unfortunate alleged malfeasance. And so I think it's a desire for the truth. And like I said, if the DOJ and the Democrats are concerned about this not being true, Democrats can release their own memo. And the DOJ, quite frankly, doesn't really have a say in the memo going out or not.
What's undermining people's faith in our democratic institutions is the constant barrage, the attacks coming from the Republican Party. Are they horrified of what Mueller might find when it comes to the Trump investigation? Who knows? But it seems as if they are actively pursuing an aggressive campaign against the FBI at this point.
Ben, do you, I mean, is Congressman Peter King somebody who strikes you as generally, you know, says outrageous things and walks around with his hair on fire? I mean, he's a pretty straight, stoic guy. For him to be this upset about this and saying that the American public needs to see this, doesn't that make you nervous about your own privacy or what the FBI could be doing, to jeopardize your rights?
Well, Peter King has misspoken a time or two, but sure, again, if they want to take the unprecedented step of a House Intelligence Committee to release this classified 4-page memo, the American people will have to judge for themselves. It just seems fascinating to me that we live in a time where the Republican Party is hell-bent on destroying the FBI and derailing this investigation.
Allie, what's the downside? I mean, what's the potential fallout from this? If the memo comes out and there's nothing in it, what do you think?
Right. Well, I don't think it's in Republicans' best interest to be beefing this up and saying, oh, this is going to be Watergate-esque, this is going to be terrible, if that's not really the case. I mean, I think that Nunes is probably smart. Yeah, he's probably smarter than that. And like I said, he knows the Democrats could come out with their own memo and say that they're completely biased. So to me, there is no downside. They have to be telling the truth. They don't have any motivation not to.
We'll leave it there, guys. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.